Hello everyone, I am Preeti Singh along with Pragya and Yash. We are group number 26 and the name of our project is Invoice Digitization and Sales Prediction. So, sequentially entering the data into an Excel sheet or CSV files manually is a time consuming task for office personnel. So, companies are migrating from papers to digital records. Our objective here is to convert these paper records into electronic records using invoice digitization process. We also need sales forecasting here so that the company's management can take decisions about operation planning, presentation, production planning, and operating income based on sales prediction. Next is system model, which would be explained by Pragya.
We move on to the overall process flow of the system. For the ease of implementation, we have subdivided the project into invoice digitization and sales forecasting. Moving on to the detailed implementation of the invoice digitization process, which begins with the conversion of PDF to image. This image is then given to the image pre-processing blocks, which uses image processing techniques in order to obtain an image having minimal noise. The output of this step is then given to the template matching block, which extracts the key points from the image by matching it with a template image. The output of the template matching step is then our images representing the regions of interest. This is then followed by the data extraction block, which comprises of OCR for text extraction from image. The data from the OCR might contain errors, and hence we use rejects. Uh, which is a rule-based approach to filter out the unwanted data. The final step of this part is to export the data from text file to Excel sheet for further analysis and prediction. Now we see the implementation of the invoice digitization process, which has been performed using Python. Here the input is we pass the input, which is a PDF, which is an invoice in the PDF format, in order to extract details such as invoice number, date, description of the goods and the amount, etc. The output of this system is in the form or in the is in the structured format in the form of rows and columns in the Excel sheet, which can be easily utilized for further project implementation.
Okay, so after dumping this data, we must ensure that the redundant data is removed and a final database is generated. So, in order to access this Excel sheet easily for further use, we export this data into Python. Next is data pre-processing, wherein we eliminate all the missing, duplicate, faulty, and also modify the data if required. Next, we talk about data visualization, wherein we show the graphical representation of the product-wise sales using Tableau. As we can see in the dashboard, in 2017, commercial ply C18 contributed to 31.08% of the total revenue. Similarly, in 2018, the same product contributed to 50.6% of the total revenue. Now, in 2019, we could see the decorative plywood contributed to 64.83% of the total revenue, while in 2020 again, commercial ply C18 contributed to 47.42% of the total revenue. So, from this analysis, we can see that commercial ply C18 had made maximum sales in 3 years and was the most sold product in this company. Okay, so next is the sales revenue dashboard where we show the monthly, quarterly, and yearly trends of the sales. The next part is forecasting, which will be explained by Yash Shah.
Okay, so let's have a look at the final block of the system model, which is forecasting block. Firstly, let's address the issue that what is forecasting? Forecasting is an approach to determine what the future holds. It is basically an estimate of what an organization needs to build their current plans. I would also like to talk about our data set. Our data set basically involves approximately 490 invoices in the PDF format and is dated for a period of 3 years. For easy evaluation purposes, we have divided the data into two parts, which is the training data and the testing data. The training data is dated from July 2017 to December 2019, and the testing data is dated from January 2020 to March 2020. For the forecasting purposes, we have used a time series model, which is usually used when the data set is short and non-continuous. We have used three models, which is the simple exponential smoothing, the RMA model, and the XGBoost model. I'll show you the results on the Google Colab now. Okay, so as we can see here, we have predicted the sales from the month of January 2020 to March 2020. The blue line is the original data set, and the orange line is the predicted data set. The blue line in the gray area is basically the test data set, and the orange line shows its prediction on the test data set. While concluding, firstly, the entire system of the invoice digitization process takes place without any human intervention, thus providing faster, less expensive, and error-free results. The system has various applications in the corporate, retail, as well as the banking sector. When we talk about the forecasting process, amongst all the three models, we observe that the ARIMA model tends to be the most accurate for our data set. Uh, Lastly, while talking about the future scope of this project, I would like to mention three noteworthy points. First, the system can be trained on a variety of templates using deep learning approaches and NLP to transform the system into a far more dynamic environment. The creation of a much more accessible web page or an application broadens the range of the project's users. Thirdly, when a larger data set is used, it results in a higher accuracy of the forecast. This is our project. Thank you so much, guys.